Hello everyone, my name is Brendan Snyder. Thank you so much for joining me. And today we're going to take a look at the brand new box set for Technical Ecstasy by Black Sabbath. This one here is a super deluxe edition of the album, which originally came out in 1976. So it is celebrating its 45th anniversary, which is why the box set is coming out. And we're going to take a look at all that in just a bit. But before we do, if you are new to my channel and you haven't already hit the subscribe button, please click the button. Also leave a comment, hit like, all those things help support my channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And of course, as an added bonus, by subscribing, you'll be able to stay up to date on all that's going on in the world of music, just like this, with taking a look at the Black Sabbath box set for Technical Ecstasy. So, you know, the band formed back in 1968, which is 53 years ago. And while there's been a lot of different lineups for the band over the years, and I'm a fan of a lot of different ones from those eras, there's none that compare to the original one, right? Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler, Bill Ward, that's the four original members, and that's the classic lineup. And those early albums, that's where it's at in my opinion. They kicked off, their album releases in 1970 with their self-titled debut album. And this one here, full of doom and gloom and that real heavy, dirgy sound that they started with. A lot say Black Sabbath is the inventor of heavy metal, Tony Iommi and his riffing, and I would completely agree with that. The album itself did find immediate success, I think, because of how different it was from everything else that was going on at the time. And between 1970 to 75, the band released 6 studio albums, culminating in 1976 with Technical Ecstasy, which, as I said, is celebrating its 45th anniversary this year, and why we've got this great box set here. So it is the 7th studio album that they put out, and the art on this, if you've never really paid attention to, it's got a very modern feel in my opinion, but it's got 2 robots there, and it looks like they're exchanging bodily fluids, and was done by Hypnosis, who's done a lot of great art like this for many different bands from the 70s and so forth. But always interesting, and that album cover always caught my eye at the time. And so while the album itself says that it's produced by the band Black Sabbath, it's actually in fact produced by Tony Iommi himself. He sort of fell into the role. They didn't want to bring in an outside producer. Nobody wanted to step up and do it, so Tony Iommi did, and that's how he wound up producing it, but it was credited to the whole band. And despite the album itself receiving mixed reviews at the time, it did find commercial success, has been certified gold in the US, but the album itself continued the band's separation from that doom and gloom, and that's why I kind of mentioned it right up front with this album here. Between these 2 albums here, there's very different sound for the band, and we'll touch on that a bit more here. And that's because of the changing musical trends that were going on at the time. Punk was an up-and-coming sound. A lot of those bands were becoming the new bands that were out there. And so in those days, a band was really expected to try and keep up, change with the times, and modernize. You know, you'd never think that today about a group like Black Sabbath. But at those times, it wasn't a thing where, oh, you're a metal band, you're going to make a metal album. So that's where this album went through those kind of changes and so forth. But despite the change in sound on the album itself, personally, I've always liked it. I know for a lot of people, this is one of the least loved albums of the original lineup kind of thing. But for me, Technical Ecstasy, along with Never Say Die, which came out in 1978, I think those albums go hand in hand. I've always really enjoyed both of them. They are different sounding albums, but that's one of the things that I like about them. And, while there was a lot of changes that were going on, and certainly with this album here, I think this was really the thing that signaled the end for the band itself, with Ozzy considering leaving, that kind of information coming out later on, and reviews, long after the album had been out and whatnot, but that sort of revisionist looking at the history and everything. And I think with his potential lack of interest within the album and so forth, and his thinking of potentially leaving, perhaps facilitated the change in direction that this album was going through. But still, there are, real good standout tracks that are on this, in particular, the opening Raging, song itself, Backstreet Kids, then there's Rock and Roll Doctor that's on this, and my personal favorite, Dirty Women, the song that closes the album. That's something they brought back during their reunion tour in the late 90s that I just thought was fantastic for them to pull that out off of this album and be performing it. All right, so let's take a look at this thing. This is a really nice box set. It's very well done. Very similar to their other ones in the way that it's put together. I got the name and everything on the side, which I always like, because if they're going to go on the wall, you want to see that. And then on the back side, get those cool photos of them, and you get all the track listing and that sort of stuff. So it's nice there. You don't have to dig into it to see what's going on. Top just lifts off like all the others. And then right on top, we see the 60-page hardcover book, which is really nice. I'm going to go through this in a little more detail at the end, but I did want to pull that out as I go through the rest of these items. The next thing that's in here is really cool. This thing that's here is a replica of the official tour program that they used on tour at the time. So you get all the original pictures, advertisements, write-up, all that sort of stuff that was done to promote the album. So none of that revisionist history where someone's coming at it after the fact kind of a thing. You get to see what it was like at the time. If you were at a show and you picked this up, this was the kind of stuff you were seeing. So that's really cool in my opinion. And so basically you get two cool things to read. You get the 60-page book and you get the tour program. And then you've got the next thing that comes in here, which is the poster, and I'll open that up and then we're going to get to the music part of this. So this poster here was an album promotional poster, and very, very cool, well done, nice paper. It's thick and it's smooth and it's got a very nice feel to it. It's not cheap in any way, so that's very cool. And like I said, the thing we're going to get to now, the music that everyone wants to talk about. So let's take a look at these now. And the first one being the disc itself. So Technical Ecstasy, this one here, which has the inlay card reproduced on it, which is nice. And then the discs, I know a lot of people worry about this, come in these plastic sleeves to protect them there. But you do get the full replica of the original album cover like that. But what's cool about this is it is a 2021 remaster. So different than the 2016 master that was used for this one here. So there's that, and this one here I think has a brighter sound to it. But what's nice is they've included this, and this is why I'm interested in the box. This disc here is the album itself, but remixed by Steve Wilson. And Steve Wilson has done a lot with Jethro Tull, Yes, Gentle Giant, and a number of other bands, remixing the albums, giving them a slightly new sound using modern technology and things. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but you still get the original album and then you get the remix. So if you don't like this, it's okay. You still got the remastered original album. But this one here, what I like about it, it's not as bright as the remastered version, and the instrumentation on it is less muddy. In particular, the bass on it has been cleaned up. The first mix of the album, the original mix I should say, a bit too muddy for me. And I know that's their sound, but this one here offers something new. It's cleaner, crisper in the way that it's done. And that's generally what Steve Wilson does in his mixes. The third disc that's in here is really cool too. This one is an Outtakes and alternate mixes one, and it's also been remixed by Steve Wilson. The cool thing too is that the tracks on it are in the same running order, so it's like an alternate version of the album. So you're really getting three mixes of the album here. You get the original, you get a Steve Wilson, and then you get the outtakes and alternate versions of the album. Plus, you also get a live disc, 76 to 77, so very cool, 10 tracks on here from the tour, world tour at that time in the sleeve as well. All of them in the individual sleeves, which again is something I really like. And so pretty interesting package on all of this. But as I said, I wanted to spend a little bit of time with this book because I think it's so well done. The other books, very nice too, but this one here, maybe just having a bit more stuff to be able to draw from. But it does a really nice write-up on it. It's got single sleeves and things of that nature in here. And just the way that the whole thing is put together, beautifully done. I was very, very happy. When I pulled this out, I was like a giddy schoolboy seeing this thing, just with all the stuff that I'm going to get to spend lots and lots of time diving through and going into, as I'm sure you will want to as well. And so this is the one that you know, they re-look at things and examine things and so forth. But very cool to get it. Just a lot of great info and stuff in here. And so there you go. That is the Technical Ecstasy 45th Anniversary Edition box set. Hopefully you enjoyed it. I do think it is worth checking out. If this is an album that you never got into back in the day, now would be the time to check it out. Just some interesting stuff within this that I think can make any Black Sabbath fan happy. All right, so there you go. Don't forget to check the description for links to related videos. In particular, I did a full review of that Paranoid box set that is behind me. You can check that out, as well as the box set there called The End, which is from their final tour. So I'll leave links to those in there, and certainly if you've enjoyed this video, please consider sharing it out on social media. I would also really appreciate that. All right, everyone, take care. Have a great day. Go enjoy some Black Sabbath, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Bye-bye.